Okay, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, beta. Yes, beta. Moving on to the last topic for today, Saturday. We'll finish this chapter. From Monday, we'll start with biotechnology and revisions of this unit. This is a general topic, greenhouse effect. Giving you 2 minutes, read it quickly. Then we'll discuss. Read quickly, beta. Though most of you know about it, but still. Okay, we've read beta. Greenhouse effect.
Yes, ma'am.
This term greenhouse effect has been derived from a phenomena which occurs inside a greenhouse. What is a greenhouse? What is a greenhouse? In hilly areas, people generally make greenhouses. What is a greenhouse? An area which is enclosed by glass panels. Okay, we have glasses all over. We don't have cemented walls. They're all glass panels. What is the special property of glass you've just read about?
It does not allow heat to pass through it,
but it allows light.
light can enter with.
Very good. So obviously the inner part would become quite hot because sunlight is coming in, but it is not going back. So this is greenhouse. Greenhouse, we got this word greenhouse effect from this concept, greenhouse only. This is a natural occurring phenomena that is responsible for heating the earth's surface. Without greenhouse effect, this is very important. Average temperature of the surface earth would have been very chilly, approximately how much?
Minus 18 degrees Celsius.
So will we be able to survive over here if there was no greenhouse effect?
No, ma'am.
Obviously, at minus 18, we will not be able to survive. And normally, the average temperature assumed on the earth these days is how much?
15 degrees Celsius.
15 degrees Celsius. And if there was no greenhouse effect, then what would be the temperature?
Minus 18.
Minus 18. So now I'll show you the figure. Understand what is greenhouse effect through this figure only. Just see this figure. See what is it trying to tell you, which What did we understand, beta? See, sunlight is coming, greenhouse gases. Acha, why do we have arrows going back where we are showing that sunlight is coming? There are some arrows which are going out of the earth. What does this mean?
Ma'am, that some amount of heat is going back.
Yes, beta. Earth is not able to absorb all the heat which is generated by the sun. Actually, only 1% of the heat we are able to absorb. The rest is all going back. Now, greenhouse gases, they're entering the Earth's surface. What will they absorb? Which kind of radiations?
Long wave radiation.
Mhm.
Ultraviolet
What are they called? What are they called scientifically? Infrared. What are they called?
infrared.
Infrared.
If you remember about Vibgyor, the shortwave radiation was violet, and less than violet, it was ultraviolet. The Vibgyor, the last is R, that is red. So red is a long wave radiation, and more than red, it is infrared. Ultraviolet, infrared. So these are long wave radiations, that is infrared. What are the greenhouse gases doing, beta? They are again holding those and emitting it back towards the earth. They should have gone back to home, to the sun. But what are the greenhouse gases doing? Once they're released from the earth, again these greenhouse gases will absorb these infrared radiations and send it back towards the earth itself. So what is happening? It is trapping a lot of heat. What are greenhouse gases doing? They're trapping a lot of sun's heat. The heat which should have gone back is being trapped. Most of the heat which should have gone back is being trapped by which gases? What are these gases called?
Greenhouse gases.
Greenhouse gases.
See, to understand the greenhouse effect, we should know the fate of energy of sunlight that reaches the outermost atmosphere. Let's understand this. See, beta, clouds and gases, they reflect about 1/4 of the incoming solar radiation and absorb some of it. If we talk about clouds and other gases, not the greenhouse gases, the normal gases, they reflect back 1/4 of the light which is incident on them. Okay, they absorb very less amount of light, clouds and non-greenhouse gases. About half of the incoming solar radiations falls on the surface of the earth and heats it, and a small proportion of the radiation is reflected back. Now, sun is giving heat, earth is getting heated up, but remember that the entire heat is never being absorbed, it is reflected back. Earth's surface re-emits heat, mostly in the form of infrared radiations. Now, Earth is not going to absorb the entire amount of heat. It has absorbed a little amount of heat, but it is going to emit out. It's going to give out that heat. Okay, in the form of which radiations?
Infrared radiations.
Yes. Okay, it's going to release this heat in the form of infrared radiations. Let me scroll down and show it to you. Just one. We were talking about clouds reflecting back heat, Earth reflecting back heat. So Earth is reflecting back heat mostly in the form of infrared radiations. These are re-emitted radiations. Now these emissions which are given out by the Earth, infrared emissions, they are being absorbed by some gases, mainly carbon dioxide and methane. Mainly which two gases absorb the heat? Actually, this heat which was emitted by the Earth should go back to the sun. But these two gases, they do not let it go back. They absorb this heat which is emitted by the Earth. Which two gases mainly?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide and methane.
Yes. And why? What are these gases known as?
Greenhouse gases.
Yes, Pechi, because they're causing the greenhouse effect. That is why they are known as greenhouse gases. The molecules of these gases radiate heat energy, and a major part of which again comes to the Earth's surface, thus heating up once again. See, there's so much of complication. We got heat from the sun, the Earth got heated up, but the Earth is giving out the extra heat which it does not need. But the only problem is that that extra heat is again being absorbed by these greenhouse gases and sent back to the Earth now. Okay. Now these molecules, they will again give back the heat back to its surface, Earth's surface. So the Earth is getting heated up. So continuously this process keeps on happening and long wave radiations become unavailable for absorption. Gradually what happens is these infrared radiations, continuity, this keeps on happening. So what is the main process? What happened in the first step? Sun sent some amount of light which heats the Earth, number one. Remember, whether it is the Earth, it is clouds, or it is the non-greenhouse gases, they do not absorb the entire amount of heat or sunlight. They send it back. So when Earth is re-emitting these radiations, it is sending back these radiations so that it does not get heated up. There are mainly two gases in the upper atmosphere which start absorbing these gases and sending it back to the Earth. These gases are what we call as greenhouse gases, and these gases mainly include which two gases?
Carbon dioxide and methane.
So this process continuously keeps on happening. Sun is sending, Earth is absorbing, then Earth is emitting it. It should go back to the upper atmosphere, but all the heat which was emitted by the Earth is again being absorbed by these two gases and sent back to the Earth. So will the Earth get heated up? Does the Earth get heated up? Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
That is why this is what we call as global warming. Why do we call it as global warming?
Because
Warm we have understood. Yes, beta, warm we have understood, and because it is happening in the entire world, entire globe is suffering from this. That is why this warming is known as global warming. Now, let me show you this pie chart. This pie chart often comes in the exams. Figures are not given to you. Percentages are also not given to you, and you have to identify it. Let's observe this pie chart quickly. We all understood one thing, that greenhouse effect is actually leading to global warming. The earth is becoming warm and the cause is greenhouse effect. So what is global warming? Gradual and continuous increase in the average temperature of the surface of the earth. This is what we call as global warming. What are the causes? The first is high level of greenhouse gases. Just now we talked about carbon mono, carbon dioxide and methane. Even CFCs, they contribute beta. They allow the heat waves to reach the earth but prevent the escape and the earth becomes warm. They let the sun heat come to the earth, but they do not let the heat of the earth which is being reflected to go back to the sun. So the earth is becoming warm. What is the second case? All the living plants, what do? They have the power of storing carbon. What can they store? All the plants?
Carbon.
Yes, Piche. So, but what is happening is the number of the plants on the earth is decreasing day by day. So the amount of the CO2 in the atmosphere is increasing. Had there been more plants, they would have used the carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, because you all know that when plants perform photosynthesis, they take in CO2. So earlier it was fine. We had so many plants. All the CO2 that we are releasing was mostly taken away by the plants. But now the human population has increased. So in respiration, we are giving out so much of CO2. But the number of plants who can use the CO2 have really decreased. Though deforestation is another cause of global warming. This is how carbon dioxide amount is increasing. And the third is increase in the population. I just told you both of them together, increase in the population and the deforestation together have led to global warming. Can we see the chart? See the percentage very nicely and tell me how much percent what? What is N2O?
Nitric oxide.
Hmm?
Nitrogen dioxide.
Yes, nitrogen dioxide. How much is it contributing to global warming?
6%.
6%.
Maximum, if you see more than half, that is more than 50%, that is 60% is actually by
Carbon dioxide.
carbon dioxide. Then 20% by
Methane.
methane and 14% by
CFC.
what are CFCs?
Chlorofluorocarbon.
Yes, where are released from?
Chlorofluorocarbon.
Where are they released from?
Refrigerators, AC.
Yes, beta. All the cooling agents that we have, refrigerators and air conditioners, so the more the use of these devices, the more is the release of CFCs. So basically, it is carbon dioxide. 60% if you see, it is carbon dioxide. And two major reasons increase in CO2 is deforestation and increase in population. Population is increasing, everybody is breathing, respiration is going on, we are releasing carbon dioxide. But the number of plants who should take this CO2 and utilize it for photosynthesis is decreasing. That is why the major factors contributing are increase in population and deforestation. So quickly tell me which is the most contributing gas, greenhouse gas?
CO2.
CO2.
CO2. How much percent?
60%.
60%.
Followed by, which is number two? Number two is what?
Methane.
Methane.
Good, good, good. Yes. Okay.
Methane.
Now it is methane
20%.
only. Yes. Effects of global warming. Now we're going to read about the effects of global warming, giving you a minute, read quickly, then I'll discuss with you. Yes, Peter. Effects of global warming. What are we reading? We all know what is global warming. The major cause was greenhouse effect. You know about greenhouse gases. Now let us very quickly read about the effects of global warming. Earth's temperature has increased by 0.6 degrees Celsius during the past century. So in 100 years, how much the temperature has increased? How much, beta? 0.6. And most of the increase has been in the last 30 years, the last 3 decades. So maximum contribution for global warming is in the last 30 years only. So a lot of precipitation patterns have changed. Precipitation patterns is rainfall patterns. Like what to tell you, you can see yourself in May last week, we are experiencing a cloudy weather, a lot of rainfall. So a lot of unexpected changes in the precipitation pattern. Precipitation means rainfall, hailstones, all these are included. Scientists have proposed that this rise in temperature causes deleterious changes in the environment, resulting in odd climatic changes. Okay. What is this called? This effect called as unsuitable climatic changes. What is this effect called as?
El Nino effect.
Yes, I'll just tell you a little bit about this in the next paragraph. El Nino effect. This is a climatic change. Because of this, the polar ice caps, the Himalayan snow caps, all of them have started melting because of global warming. So all the water which is stored in the form of ice is melting and coming down, which is increasing the level of water in the sea. And many coastal areas near the sea are getting submerged in water because the earth is getting heated up. So all the ice that we have on the polar caps or the Himalayan snow caps, they started melting now. So all the ice, when it is melting, it is coming down in the form of water. So sea level is also increasing. Now let's read this El Nino. It's an abnormal forming of the surface ocean water in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Which ocean has it been observed?
Eastern
Tell me.
Pacific.
Yes, Eastern Pacific Ocean. And what is happening over there? The surface water is getting heated abnormally. During El Nino, what happens is there is a movement of warm water to the east, which causes the bleaching and death of coral reefs. This warm water, I told you, it is Eastern Pacific Ocean. So the eastern part, the water which is located towards the east, because we said this phenomena is not observed in the entire Pacific Ocean. It is observed in which part? Which area?
Eastern.
Eastern.
Pacific Ocean.
Yes. So the water which is in the eastern area, this has caused the death, bleaching and death of coral reefs. It changes the route of migration of birds, fishes, and whales, thereby increasing the risk for them. It is also known to be responsible for sudden changes in rainfall pattern and drought also. All this is making, if you see, El Nino a factor for biodiversity loss. Because the water has become hot in that area, so there's death of coral reefs. Number one, birds, they're not wanting to cross this area because the water is very hot. So they change the routes of migration. What have the birds done? What has happened to coral reefs because of El Nino?
Bleaching
Death.
and death of coal.
So this is the first effect of El Nino, bleaching and death of coral reefs. Number two, the migratory birds have changed their route. They do not come towards the eastern part of this Pacific Ocean. Number three, fishes and whales, okay, nearby this eastern area, it's threat for them also. If the water becomes warm up to a certain temperature, it can lead to the death of fishes and whales also. Not only this, it has also been observed because the rate of evaporation is increasing. We know water cycle now. Water gets heated up in oceans and seas, and then it becomes water vapor, it forms clouds, and the clouds come back as rain. Do you remember that water cycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So all of a sudden, what has happened is on the eastern side, the rate of precipitation is higher because the water is hot, evaporation is higher, the rainfall is higher. But on the other sides, it leads to drought area. The comparison is like eastern and western side, there's a lot of difference between both of them. So we believe that this El Nino has caused a lot of biodiversity loss. This is very important, children, El Nino effect. This is what rise in temperature causing changes in the environment or the climatic changes, not suitable climatic changes, the unsuitable climatic changes. El Nino effect. So El Nino effect is abnormal heating of the ocean water in which part of the ocean and which ocean?
Eastern Pacific.
Eastern
Ocean.
Pacific.
Eastern Pacific. Ocean.
Very good. Due to which the water temperature is increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Okay, let us have three effects of El Nino. Number one,
Bleaching and death of
Bleaching and death of
coral.
coral reefs.
very
Coral
good.
reef.
Number two,
Risk to migratory birds that change the route of migration of birds.
birds have changed their route. And number three is change in what patterns?
Rainfall patterns.
Yes, baby. Okay, change in the rainfall patterns is also resulted now. So these are all the effects that we have. Let me scroll down. We are just moving on to the last part, how to control global warming. Yes, Bachu. Cutting down of fossil fuels, cutting down the use of fossil fuels. We should use less amount of fossil fuels, improving energy using efficiency, reducing deforestation, planting trees, slowing down the growth of human population. International initiatives are also being taken to curb the emission of greenhouse gases, mainly the CFCs. Now we move on to the last topic, ozone depletion. See, ozone gas is found in the upper part of the atmosphere. That area of the atmosphere is called stratosphere. The stratosphere is very important for the human race because it acts as a protective shield as it absorbs all the harmful radiations. Which harmful radiations it absorbs?
Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet radiation.
So the thickness of ozone in a column of air from the ground to the top of the atmosphere is measured in terms of Dobson units, DU. Like you measure milk in liters, distance in kilometers. How thick is the ozone layer? The thickness is measured in terms of a unit which is known as DU unit. What is DU?
Adoption unit.
Yes. So in Dobson units, we get to know that whether the ozone layer thickness is increasing or it is decreasing. Everybody please see on the screen how ozone gas is formed very quickly. And what is good ozone and bad ozone? Read very quickly both the things. I want you to tell me good ozone, bad ozone, and how ozone gas is formed. Very quickly. See, ozone is continuously formed by the action of which rays?
UV rays.
Yes. So this oxygen molecule is breaking by UV rays into two separate, it was two atoms of oxygen. Now both the atoms have got separated. These atoms are known as nascent oxygen. Alone oxygen, O, is known as nascent oxygen. So O2 is breaking down into two nascent oxygen atoms. So this nascent oxygen O will combine with O2. So O2 plus O, again with the help of which rays?
Ultraviolet rays.
Ultraviolet rays.
What is being formed is?
Ozone. Okay.
This takes place in which layer of atmosphere? This process takes place in which part of the atmosphere?
Stratosphere. Stratosphere.
So some oxygen molecules are breaking down because of UV rays into nascent oxygen atoms. These nascent oxygen atoms combine with oxygen molecules and make O3, that is ozone. What is good ozone and bad ozone?
Good ozone
Good
is
ozone
formed
is
by
that
oxygen molecules in troposphere,
stratosphere.
Yes.
in stratosphere, whereas
Yes.
wet ozone is formed by NO2 and VOC in troposphere.
Okay, the reactions which I have shown you, they're good ozone formation or bad ozone?
Good ozone.
They're good ozone or bad ozone, children?
Good ozone.
Good ozone. And the one which are formed by us harmful ways, okay, that is bad ozone. So remember the difference between good ozone and bad ozone. Good ozone is formed naturally. What is VOC? Volatile organic compounds. What does about VOC mean?
Volatile compounds.
All those organic compounds which have a very low boiling point and immediately, for example, nitrogen oxide. The best example is what? Nitrogen dioxide. These are known as VOCs. What is the full form of VOC? Tell me very quickly.
Compounds.
Yes, it can be at homes also. Yes. Okay, very good. Now let's read the next topic. Let me scroll down and show you how to control this ozone depletion. Nothing much left.
Ma'am,
Yes, Peter.
ozone is a toxic gas and it is harmful for. So
Yes, Peter.
does good ozone mean ki it is not harmful, or does it just mean that it is a part of the
It-
protective?
It is basically helping you in protection, Beta. Okay, that is what. And there are a lot of confusions about ozone hole I've seen. So let's read about ozone hole, ozone depletion, and we are almost done then. Ozone hole and causes of ozone depletion. Read quickly. Just because it gives you protection against harmful radiation, that is why we call it as good ozone. Not that you can inhale it. We've all been talking about this ozone hole, Beta. Okay, this is a large area of thin ozone layer. It does not mean that there's a hole. It just means that the layer has become very thin. We were measuring it in what unit? Thickness of ozone layer? Yes. So the layer has become thin, and this has happened in which region?
Antarctic
Antarctic.
region.
So the reason is here depletion of ozone is more as compared to the rest of the atmosphere. What is the cause? The balance of ozone production and degradation has been disrupted due to enhancement of which what products?
Chlorofluorocarbons.
Yes. So CFCs are widely used as refrigerants. When they are discharged in the lower part of the atmosphere, they go and reach the stratosphere. In stratosphere, UV rays act on them and they release chlorine atoms. What is released out of these CFCs once they reach the stratosphere?
Chlorine atoms.
Which rays act on them?
Ultraviolet.
Chlorine does the same work now. It degrades ozone and it starts breaking it into oxygen atoms. O3 is broken down into O plus O plus O. It is breaking the ozone. Chlorine atoms are not consumed in this reaction. So once CFCs are added to the stratosphere, they have permanent and continuous effect. One chlorine atom can continuously keep on breaking ozone molecules into nascent oxygens. So once a CFC has reached, once a chlorine has reached the stratosphere, it will permanently remain there and its effect would be continuous. Did you understand why these CFCs are so harmful?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So once they're released, they go to which part of the atmosphere?
Stratosphere.
Yes. And which kind of rays do we have in stratosphere?
Ultraviolet rays.
What do ultraviolet rays do to these CFCs? What do they release?
Chlorine atoms.
And what does chlorine do? It starts degrading what?
O3 molecule. Ozone.
And then this is how the amount of ozone is decreasing. This continues. This is a very, very harmful process because once the CFCs reach there, we have chlorine atoms in that stratosphere level. Then they'll continuously do their work. This is very important Montreal Protocol. Just 1 mark question. Let's read about Montreal Protocol and harmful effects of UV rays. Finish the chapter from Monday. We'll start biotechnology. Let's see this Montreal Protocol. It's an international treaty which was signed in 1987 at which place?
Montreal.
Yes.
Montreal, Canada.
And most of the countries agree to control the emissions of ozone depleting substances. After Montreal, many other protocols have been made to control the emission of CFCs, but this was the first effort taken by the countries to reduce the depletion of ozone. Harmful effects of UV rays. Now, if you don't have ozone or the ozone layer is very thin, what will happen? DNA and proteins of living organisms, preferentially, they start observing the UV rays. The DNA and the proteins, they start observing which rays?
UV rays.
UV.
UV rays. That means if there is no ozone layer, when the UV rays will reach down, the DNA and the proteins which are present in the body of living organisms, they're very, what should I say, very attracted to, or very immediately they absorb UV rays. And high, because we know that these UV rays have a lot of energy, high energy. So as soon as these UV rays enter the body of human beings or organisms, they break the chemical bonds of these molecules. The bond between DNA, hydrogen bonds between DNA and other bonds in DNA, and the bonds between proteins are broken down. So this is a harmful effect. Once ozone comes on the earth, it is very quickly absorbed by which two particles in the body?
DNA and proteins.
Protein
Yes,
and
and very good. So once this UV rays enters the body, they are very, very high energy particles. They enter and they start breaking the bonds. So obviously this damages the DNA, this damages the skin cells. It leads to the aging of the skin, and it also leads to various type of cancers. UV rays are absorbed by human eye, and in high dose, it causes inflammation of the cornea. UV rays enter the human body mainly through eyes. And if they're entering in a high dose, it causes the damage of cornea. This is known as snow blindness cataract. What is this abnormality known as?
no blind.
Is no blindness cataract.
This leads to diminishing of eyesight, photo burning, and later permanent damage to the cornea. Apart from all this, when it enters through the human eye in high amount, then it leads to the damage of the cornea, which is known as which cataract?
Is no blindness.
Yes. You know about deforestation and reforestation. Nothing much to read in deforestation and reforestation. I think this case study you have done in 9th or 10th, Amrita Devi Vishnoi Protection Award, Chipko Movement Management. Have you read this?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So this part you just read. In 2003, India set up a National Forest Commission. This is also asked, which